who scored the only goal against Richards Bay last time out. That came early into the match. Mamelodi Sundowns navigated the remainder of the tie, for the most part, quite effortlessly, but I guess there were a few scares that Richards Bay provided over the course of the match, but not all too much threat.
It becomes very difficult if Mamelodi Sundowns scores first, because then they control the tempo of the game with their ball positioning style, and also as a team that you're defending, that you don't want to commit too many numbers, because once you do, you're actually opening gaps from the back, and then they were able to punish you. So it becomes very difficult once you allow them to score first.
You know, the last time they scored first in the league and went on to lose was the season before last, in very controversial circumstances, away to Maritzburg United. Last season in the league, the 25 instances where they scored the opening goal, they didn't go on to lose any of those games. Slipped through for Allende, and the challenge from directly behind him just took the ball away. As a phenomenal little player is Marcelo Allende. Went on to lose was the season before last, in very controversial circumstances, away.
So it's a pure joy to watch. Yeah. I mean, he helps Mokoena with his organization. That midfield defines spaces in the midfield, and also when Mamelodi Sundowns are out of possession, it's always the first one that initiates that counter press. Very clever, reads the game very well.
Close control as well, press him at your peril, but then there's the dynamic of him being able to shoot from range, which means he's a tricky player to defend against.
100%.
Grant Kekana has spotted Mendieta in space. You can see the idea there, just trying to cushion it back to Teboho Mokoena, doesn't quite come off for him. Motobi Mbala might have his hands full tonight with Douglas Mafumo.
Yeah, especially that physicality battle. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yep. This is being allowed to stroll forward with the ball. Vala onto it. That one pings clear of the heads of Ngaki. Kekana for Mokoena. Mamelodi Sundowns, especially in the early stages of games, they never appear to be in a hurry. They show a lot of patience.
I guess they also are assessing the opponents as to how well they shift, whether the holes to use. But at some point, once they start changing gears, you'll see the ball move a little more faster. You see Miami trying to break the line, and then they start stretching the defense.
Vala with a firm pass for Hipero. He loses out, and Polokwane City immediately look to launch the attack with Mafumo. And tracking back is now Maema. Oh, that's slightly loose. Polokwane City might still have an opportunity here. There's a Polis. And eventually they do come clear with it. Mendieta striding out of defense. And they can't afford to give Oswald opportunities outside the box either. He scored an exceptional brace against Cape Town Spurs.
Yeah, one of the goals there was exceptional.
Oh, it was. Kikana to Mokoena, Allende. There's Mvala in space. Cut out en route to Mayema. Matuluri with an opportunity to fly forward. And still he continues on. And it drops. Well, perhaps didn't strike it as cleanly as he would have liked.
Yeah, there wasn't enough power there from Mashikinya. But also a very positive play, making sure that they forced Mamelodi Sundowns with those errors, and then you can see that they want to use speed going forward with those transitions. And Matulidi, knowing that Aubrey Mudiba is high up the pitch, using that space that he's been given.
Given Mashikinya last scored a league goal back in 2018 as Ribeiro tiptoes past one, and ball now at the feet of Lilikuhle Matebula.
I think with giving Mashikinya, it's always like being a player that likes organizing play.
Yeah.
Never get interested in finding himself inside the box or just on the edge of the box. He likes to pass and create chances. And you can see even today, because of his experience, he plays high up, able to help the team in terms of direction of play when in possession of the ball.
Hoisted forward by Matebula. Straight out of play. Intended target, Matuludi. Made a really strong run up that flank to create one of the more promising moments for Polokwane City up to this point, culminating in a fairly tame effort from Mashikinya. There's a big collision coming together. Matebula and his captain has been able to get that into his clutches.
And also, Grant, I think this is something that is very common into Polokwane City's defense and the goalkeeper. Remember the game they played against Arrows, in and around the area, the goalkeeper went out and it nearly collided with the defender. I think they need to communicate a little bit better. You can't make such mistakes whenever you're playing against Mamelodi Sundowns, because you get punished in there.
Allende. Ribeiro. Allende can't pull the trigger. Well, Junior Mendieta has, on the evidence of his time out on the field for Mamelodi Sundowns, has adapted just fine.
I mean, the talent there, knows how to play. It's important when you come to Mamelodi Sundowns, and if you're not a speedy player, if you're a highly technical player, you need to be able to play in between the spaces and be comfortable with it. And Junior Mendieta is as comfortable as they come.
There's Mokoena. I'll just get away from Allende, but he has it back again here now. Allende can't pull the trigger. Goes tumbling down, a challenge from behind. No hesitation from Jenny Jabani, pointing straight to the penalty spot.
That touch from Tembazwane. The movement in between, the patient passing as well. It's very difficult to defend those because there's always a runner in front. There's always a runner that is willing to break the line. Look at Tembazwane being aware of the spaces as well. Allende drawing a foul inside the box.
Now the man to have taken the only penalty so far this season is out, that being Peter Shelolile. And so the responsibility is handed over, but exactly the same result. And it is number 3 in the league for Ribeiro. Scored in back-to-back games to open the season. and based on that alone, he's gone through a comparatively dry spell, but back amongst the goals.
Yeah, back amongst the goals indeed. A very convincing penalty power behind it. You can see also gave a little bit of height as well.
Excellent pen from the Brazilians, or the Brazilian rather, and Mamelodi Sundowns are up and running. That's a moment you'd like to forget. Polokwane Nikani bringing down Allende, but it was a rather panicky challenge, because Mamelodi Sundowns somehow managed to get possession of the ball again, and then manufacture something from what appeared to maybe be a lost cause.
And also you look at us as well as the run from Tembazwane. He makes the run behind Nikani, and then Nikani now turns because of Allende now is following the pass. So therefore, because you're late, you tend to tackle. And it becomes very difficult because now you're defending against players that always pass and move, always there's fluidity within the movement. If you're not going to shift as a group, it's going to be a long day.
Well, prevailing wisdom would suggest that Mamelodi Sundowns are the gigantic favourites here, and head-to-head over the recent years, the last decade or so, would suggest exactly the same thing. It's the 15th league meeting between these two sides. Mamelodi Sundowns have 8 wins as compared to Polokwane City's 3. City have won just 2 of their 7 home games so far in previous Premiership meetings. The Mamelodi Sundowns moving the ball a lot quicker since they scored. Looking for Ribeiro. He can't afford to dally on it too long. It's a wonderfully timed challenge from the Argentine Junior Mendieta. Now Tembazwane, space for Mendieta once again. Oh, it's clever. Mendieta, an opportunity to measure the crossing. Polokwane City get it clear. Good hold-up play from the Zimbabwean Mapfumo. And that one will run away from him rather disappointingly.
It's going to be very difficult for Mapfumo being isolated like that, been giving balls to try and run Kekana or either Mvala. He needs to have support, because you need to play him out and then you need to be able to support him and rather and regain possession. If you're going to be isolated like that, I don't see him lasting the game.
It's a wonderful touch from Tembazwane, but his efforts to regather the ball deemed illegal by Jelly Chabani. High boot.
They're always tricky, those ones.
Yeah. Modiba. Mamelodi Sundowns have had over 70% of the possession so far. Unbelievable pass accuracy from the team as well. Well, I guess a lot of that has been amongst the back line, but still impressive nonetheless.
Yeah. Like also maybe with Polokwane City, they're waiting for Mamelodi Sundowns to jump a certain line and then they start pressing there. And as a footballer myself, playing such a system, it is very exhausting because you're shifting so much. Whenever you have the ball, you're so tired to make a right decision.
And Modiba in the center of midfield. And that speaks to schemes rather than formations that Relani Mokoena is employing.
Yeah.
And there to Modiba, who is back in a slightly more conventional position based on the formation and the lineup alone. Mokoena can't work that pass through and tries to win it back immediately, so it's an opportunity here for Fananano, who does have pace. He's measured the ball forward for Apollo. Mafuno. Well, that was had the makings of something positive for Polokwane City. Mafuno did score in the previous game against Lamont for Golden Arrows. Excellent goal, actually. Free kick for Rise and Shine after Matuludi goes down. So a fairly positive spell for the hosts over the last minute or so.
Yeah, indeed. And what's also interesting before we get to that, you want players in the wide area to be able to do that. Matuludi committed the players as well, but a very clever pass for that attack. And what also was very impressive for Mafuno is the run that he made off the ball to create the space. He worked so hard off the ball, and I think with those counter-attacks, he might be very, very dangerous for Sudowns.
I thought for a moment that Apollos was going to crack in another from range. Just couldn't engineer the space. Chose to pass it over to Mafuno. So Apollos with the free kick. Ronald Williams came for it. Decent defending at the back post to get it away. A lovely diagonal. Apollos seeking to slip it through rather than cross. And I think more will come of that. 4 players in the box. Apollos attempts that pass. Would you have preferred a cross from him when the opportunity arose?
Especially a few seconds earlier, you played a set piece that Williams wasn't sure whether to come out or actually stay. Those are the balls that you want to play as a free kick taker. You have a second opportunity. Still, the tallest players that you have within the team that's still in the box, play the ball inside the box.
Great kick, Kana. Last season, the most accurate passer in the league of players who featured regularly. Seized upon by Mokoena. Ayende. Clip towards Modiba. Oh, lovely return pass. Here's Neil Maema attempting to slide it through for Timbuzwane. They've won it back here. Another opportunity. It's on his stronger foot. It's taken away at the crucial moment.
Yeah, it was a poor pass from him, but look at him. Mentality, counter-pressing, winning the ball back. I thought he was going to release earlier there to Timbuzwane, but that was a clean tackle. The ball was intercepted. First, you can see there. But of course, with those, you always take a chance as a taker because the tackle is from behind.
Mafumo is offside. But it's giving Mamelodi Sundowns a little indication of what Polokwane City can potentially hurt them with.
And that's the game plan for Polokwane City today, to make sure that he makes those runs in between the centre backs, because there's enough space for him to do that. He's very aggressive. But then the problem is, how long can you do this? Because every ball that Polokwane City have, they're trying to initiate the same attack, different ways and different schemes as to how to play. That should be an element of a surprise.
It's a loose touch from Neo Maema. Mamelodi Sundowns come into this game having won their opening 5 games for the first time in their history. Their previous best was wins in their opening 4 games back in the 2010-2011 season. They might be eyeing a record that currently belongs to Kaizer Chiefs from the last time that they claimed the league title back in 2014-15 when they won their opening 8 games. There's Maema. Garcia can't pick out his man. But they've won it back promptly, have Mamelodi Sundowns. Eventually. Possession relinquishes with Osman Apollos for the host. Back to 5 games. Langelihle Ndlovu started his career out at Free State Stars. Nikani. Oh, trot on the ball there, did Bafana Nana. Zwane driving forward, he's measured the pass to perfection. Taking it around, the keeper has Ribeiro looking for his brace. Unselfishly locating Maema. And somehow, Polokwane City have been able to avoid conceding.
You have to be sure it was tackled. That was a clean, very, very clever tackle there. You can see Maema as well. I think it slowed down a bit because you can see the open net and the ball comes to him. He didn't see Matulidi coming just behind him to come and defend. But also there, from Nana, you need to have a little bit of confidence. You can't be losing the ball in such areas because you know Mamelodi Sundowns going forward.
Seems like the goalkeeper actually got a tiny bit of a touch on that, Matibula, as Ribeiro took it around him so that he wasn't set for the shot. I think his touch was to set himself for the shot, which he then couldn't launch. Sundowns probing. Polokwane City hanging on. They know that a 2-goal deficit should effectively be a death sentence this evening.
Already Maema, less than 25 minutes and 2 goal-scoring opportunities where he could have done a little bit better. And I think that's one thing as well about his game. As much as he helps Mamelodi Sundowns in position, in shape, he needs to start scoring goals if he's playing in one of the 3 up front, because you do have your Mendieta that just scored, you have Ribeiro that's just scored. You still have other quality players that they might get into the score sheet. You need to do more. And I think that's one game that Maema needs to improve.
Launched forward by Matulidi. Throw-in goes the way of the visitors. Vala. Mamelodi Sundowns still able to field such a strong team despite all the injuries they're contending with at the moment. Abubakar Nasir has been out for some time, as is Kulisi. Peter Shalolile did start the season, but he's out injured. Roshin Deruk and Kobeni, Morena, Modal, a youngster Sianda Nyanga, who is just starting to get himself into the fold, and off-season recruit Tapela Maseko. Mozolubusa has returned from a calf injury. He is on the bench today. That'll be encouraging.
Yeah, and he started the season very well, Mozolubusa. Yeah. I think he was one of those formidable players, looking as to, okay, his injury woes are all over now, he needs to start playing, and it's nice to see him back in the bench.
Mistimed the challenge, did Mendieta, but he's showing great awareness as to a potential next pass for Polokwane City, because the way he made tracks there to try and intercept what might be coming was impressive.
It's the anticipation, right? Being present in the game, and that anticipation as well saves you so much legs, because you don't have to sprint back to go and defend the ball. You can just anticipate and close the path in back.
Long throw to contend with. Nicely dispatched from the area. Oh, it's got to be a free kick, surely. Yeah, lovely skill. Let's go see it. Williams stroking it out wide for Allende. Shibero's intention there, trying to catch out the keeper.
I think I saw Allende making a run, and then he turned
pulled
back.
Out.
Yeah, pulled out, yeah.
Allende to Mendieta. Can't sort his feet out in time as Langelihle and Globo takes the ball off him. Also Napolis now. Mashikinya. Mendieta has flown in once again, and Jelly Jabani has lost patience. Argentine will be the first player to go into the book.
I guess there's one part of his game that hasn't changed. Even last season at Stellenbosch United, he doesn't mind to come back and defend and help the team and get stuck in. Even though Sudowns are dominating possession, but you can see the mentality hasn't changed. He still likes defending, helping the team out.
Appeals fall on deaf ears. Mamelodi Sundowns escape. Polokwane City earned promotion from the Matsepe Foundation Championship last season on the final day on goal difference above Cape Town Spurs, who could only manage a draw with Tuks. Had Spurs won, they would have been automatically promoted. Kazakh Stars also drew. All Stars. Polokwane City beats Pretoria Kelly's 4-0 as Matuludi works some space. And that's a poor cross in the end. What's interesting though about Polokwane City's victory on on the final day is that it was the first time since the first division became a single stream that a side that didn't start top at the beginning of the final day actually ended as the victors. Were not there at that particular time. That victory overseen by Putumahafe.
And it's still part of the bench.
He is, yeah. Another decent delivery from Apollos. Polokwane City went through a few coaches the season they were relegated. That disrupted campaign in 2019-20. Oh, it's a lovely ball launched forward here for Maema. Waiting for reinforcements to arrive. Pandemonium in the box. Lovely point-blank save. Well, flag is eventually up to indicate an offside.
Lovely ball there from Kutsia. But with Neo, they undecided. Look at that, but that's a deflection though. From the Polokwane City player that falls onto the path of Ribeiro.
Yeah, but not a deliberate pass back.
Yeah. But I guess that with Neo there, make up your mind, make a decision earlier, because you're playing the ball in a very crowded area, and two players of Polokwane City against one. Delay. Even if you delay a second, you always find somebody else that is free. And I guess also that's why the importance of having Kutsi in that midfield, able to play with both feet. Very, very flexible. That's the ball that he played with his left foot to Neo Mayem on the right-hand side.
Well, it's Ribero's penalty that separates the sides. Allende brought down, and in the absence of Peter Shalulile, Ribeiro steps up to convert. Shalulile scored Sudowns' opening goal of the season from a penalty against Skokuni United.
On the same pitch.
Indeed. A game in which the hosts troubled them towards the latter stages of the encounter, despite Skokuni United operating with 10 men until things were levelled up when Kutsia was sent off. The attack analysis, as is almost always the case with Mamelodi Sundowns, suggests that a lot of the play is destined to go through the centre of the park.
Yeah, that's why you look at how they position themselves when they're on the ball. They want to commit so many numbers in that central area, only to go out with one pass out wide and create those 1v1 situation out wide.
Allende's take, it's a little flicked header from Kutsia, who had remained on side. So great reactions from Lindukuhle Matebula, who has started every game so far this season after battling it out with a man from Equatorial Guinea, Manuel Sapunga, last season. So since the 25th minute or so until now, Mamelodi Sundowns have had 63% of the possession. So it's maybe dipped just a little bit. One goal from their 3 goal attempts so far for the visitors.
And also on the right-hand side, Matulidi is a strong runner, very hard runner. I think he gets more on the ball, and there's so much space for him to run onto. You need a little bit of support to be able to play out, at least to draw Mamelodi Sundowns' defense out of those defensive areas.
Clever from Kutsia, just trying to feather that off the top of his head. Redirect it slightly, but well watched by Matebula. Confidence boosting stop. It's a good win from Mashikinya. Forced to go backwards and then hoisted out wide, where Polokwane City can threaten once again. Also, Apollos has been a constant thorn so far. squaring up with Kutsia. It's cross repelled, they'll settle for a throw. Long throws and set pieces could be their best opportunity. They've gone short this time to Oswanapolis. The cross does eventually come in. Deep cross from Watululu. Now Tembazwane. Just hanging on to the ball for a moment. As Allende caresses this across field to Polokwane. Good pass to find Mayema. No one read the intentions of Mokoena, although Ribeiro has won it back. And another decent stop from Matebula.
Yeah, not enough power there from Ribeiro. But yet again, they're losing the ball, they counter press. Polokwane City unsure as to what is it that they want to do from the defense line, and they're going to get punished because this is the second ball that they lost, and the Mamelodi Sundowns really benefited from that.
In possession. Kambala. Mendieta. Ribeiro has it. Kutsia all the way back to Rondon Williams. Mamelodi Sundowns have won 3 matches away from home already this season. They were on the road to Skakuni United, Chippa and Richards Bay. As Allende just touched into the path of Mendieta. Going to Modiba. Taken away from him, but collected by Kutsia. Mendieta has controlled illegally, according to Mokoena. I don't see it.
No.
That's perhaps why he looks a little perplexed. He's not even sure what the call was for. Rivaldo Kutsia threads it through for Mokoena. Mashikinya lifts the ball over for Mapumo. Oh, he skewed that horribly into the stands.
But his mobility, it makes it very difficult for Mamelodi Sundowns. His clever runs. You look at how, given Mashikinya won that ball, he knew exactly that Mafumo will be on the run, and it makes it very difficult to defend such a player. Look at the run, making sure that he stays onside. It's unfortunate there that he couldn't get the right connection to actually try and hit the target.
He's got a lovely looping effort to actually open the scoring against Le Mans for Golden Arrows in their last game.
That control was very difficult.
Yeah.
And the finish as well, I mean, that was a beautiful goal.
It's just disappointing for them that they couldn't hang on to that advantage and get anything from the game. But Arrows are proving to be a bit of a surprise package early into proceedings, having beaten SuperSport United last night. It means that they currently occupy second on the standings.
Yeah.
10 points from their first 5 games, not a bad return at all for the KZN side. That game yesterday, right here, the temporary home of SuperSport United, and I'm sure they would have identified that as one of the reasons perhaps they didn't get the results that they would have liked.
Because they were away at home, away from home.
Home away from home, yeah. Sudowns excellent at running down the clock. Modiba in some space. Zwane, Mokoena, Allende, and he's almost squeezed it through for Maema. But Allende, as if he had Velcro on the tip of his shoe, was able to control that.
Such a clever player.
Yeah. It's a lovely ball through for Zwane. Mendieta came steaming in, but had been tracked by a couple of players. A cushion back for Mokoena. Zwane holds off the challenge, and again just not able to find the effective final pass. Now Maema this time around trying to feed Mokoena. Another opportunity might materialize here. Mendieta from range. It breaks for Ribeiro, who is onside. And that effort had all the pace taken off it.
I think they seem to find those holes again, Mamelodi Sundowns. They're piercing through, they're finding spaces. They know how to, you know, change the gear a little bit and play a little faster and slow it down. And you can see it now in the last 9 minutes of the first half. Seem to find spaces in between. I think with the more compactness that Polokwane City had and early on into the game, that helped them. They need to continue with that through the whole half.
Lucas Ribeiro. Modiba, Mokoena. Mokoena spotting the run, and it's headed behind for a corner kick.
That's the earlier ball that they played. Clever little play, but they didn't have enough power to set Maema up. But also good defending there, but from Matulid.
Allende over to take the corner as we enter into 2 minutes of additional time at the end of this first half. So Sundowns from their first corner. Ayende finding Kutsia. His header back into the melee is cleared away. Mamelodi Sundowns have the lead, and they've actually lost just one of their last 30 league matches against Limpopo sides, so that doesn't bode well for Polokwane City. That was against Baroka in August of 2020 when they and Kaizer Chiefs were tussling for the title. They are unbeaten in 19 matches against Limpopo sides since then in the league. Looking to make it 20 today. There's Mendieta. It's a loose pass. Could be a chance here for Polokwane City in the latter stages of the opening period. And instead, Mamelodi Sundowns will come away with it, just seconds remaining. Tikamadiso, thoughts on a first half in which Mamelodi Sundowns have appeared to be in complete control?
Yeah, indeed, in complete control. After they scored, they slowed the tempo down, but you could see in certain moments as well, Polokwane City, when they do find those chances in transition, they looked very dangerous. They need to continue with that with a little bit more patience, but defensively, they need to be more organized in the second half.
Well, it could have been a little worse for Mamelodi Sundowns if not for Lindukuhle Matebule. He's made a couple of fairly decent saves. Polokwane City have a mountain to climb if they are to avoid successive league defeats. But truth be told, they haven't offered nearly enough in attack. They have had moments, but not enough of them. And Mamelodi Sundowns are leading in Polokwane. They have a narrow advantage of 1-0 at the Peter Mokaba Stadium. Could be a chance here for Polokwane City in the latter stages of the opening period. And instead, Mamelodi Sundowns will come away with it, just seconds remaining. Tikamadiso, thoughts on a first half in which Mamelodi Sundowns have appeared to be in complete control?
Yeah, indeed, in complete control. After they scored, they slowed the tempo down, but you could see in certain moments as well, Polokwane City, when they do find those chances in transition, they looked very dangerous. They need to continue with that with a little bit more patience, but defensively, they need to be more organized in the second half.
Well, it could have been a little worse for Mamelodi Sundowns if not for Lindukuhle Matebule. He's made a couple of fairly decent saves. Polokwane City have a mountain to climb if they are to avoid successive league defeats. But truth be told, they haven't offered nearly enough in attack. They have had moments, but not enough of them. And Mamelodi Sundowns are leading in Polokwane. They have a narrow advantage of 1-0 at the Peter Mokaba Stadium. where teams came back to earn a draw. The only team who did it in the first part of the season was Skukuni United. 3 other teams did it afterwards. Amazulu came back from 2 goals down to draw 2-2. But again, the circumstances were very different. They
were indeed, and the mentality as well. You know, it's very difficult to get motivated on something that you really want to go on and compete for it on a daily basis. And like you rightfully say, you can see now they started especially the way they started this season. They don't want to make the same mistake that they did. They conceded a lot of goals later on into the season after they won the league. And also they could have won more games and get more points on the board to be able to have something to chase in the next season.
That's clever from Zwane. And eventually he's clipped.
confidence again to Apollos. Of course, he could have played the ball a little bit earlier, but then again, you're chasing the game. You always want to have the players on the run, and I was making those beautiful runs earlier on. He needed that ball to be played a bit earlier.
So Grant Kekana is down. Mamelodi Sundowns may have to make another change sooner than anticipated. For the time being, though, he's been helped back to his feet by our match referee, Jelly Jabani. 3 out of the quartet who are officiating tonight hail from this province.
I guess they didn't have to drive that far to come to the game.
So for the time being, at least, it appears as though Grant Kekana will soldier on. He hasn't been ushered back onto the field just yet, though. So Kutsia looks long. Nasibu Nku in pursuit. Oh. A bit of miscommunication at the back. As a consequence, I guess, of the pressure that Nku was providing. A man who was relegated with Polokwane City back in 2019-20 season, remained with the club for a couple of campaigns as Mamelodi Sundowns look to get their third. Zwane creating the space. Oh! Very, very close.
Very close indeed, but I believe that Themba Zwane made it difficult for himself. He gets the ball there from Maema, he chooses to go further out. Look at the ball here. Look at that pass, because he still had time to actually control on the right-hand side. He made things a little bit difficult for him. Then Themba Zwane, being a clever player that he is, I know that he can open his foot and be able to control and put it in the back of the net.
He continued to drift further and further onto his left.
Yeah.
Maema wanted the return.
Yeah, he did, but once you...
Yeah, there was only one thing on his mind.
Yeah.
Themba Zwane yet to get off the mark in the league. It's his goal in the MTN 8 that took them through to the semi-finals, where they will be taking on Kaizer Chiefs this weekend on Saturday. The first of that two-legged semi-final tie will be away from home for Mamelodi Sundowns. A big game anticipated at the FNB Stadium this Saturday.
A big game indeed.
And to Zwane. Clever touch. Here's Nku. Taken away from Themba Zwane. Mokoena sneaking it through for Modiba. Mokwena's ball cut out. Gubadia plays the ball early. Oh. Yeah, and Modiba getting in on the act. Zwane.
And Themba Zwane.
The referee has made a ruling in favour of Mamelodi Sundowns here.
Yeah, it was a definite push there from Ndlovu.
Quick thinking from the free kick. Well, Mamelodi Sundowns last season improved on their away record from the campaign prior, where in 21-22 they had won 8 games and lost 2. Last season they won 9 and lost just the 1. That was that game against SuperSport United in September, which was also the last time they lost a league match.
Yeah.
and they went on a 7-game winning streak on the road after losing to SuperSport United. Only towards the end of the season where they faltered a bit, but we've already, chalked that up to the fact that they had won the season with so much time to spare. Drew 4 in a row, actually, on the road towards the end of the season. First time going 4 in a row without a victory on the road since 2014, but those kind of things won't matter in the grander scheme of things as Polokwane and Grant Kekana make way. And we are seeing the return of Musa Lebusa after his struggles with a calf injury, and Batusi Opas, another who's part of the Bafana contingent for the upcoming friendly matches, has been introduced here.
Yeah, give him a Shikinya there. I guess also from the game progresses, you also want to be a little more aggressive in that midfield and allow Mamelodi Sundowns to just dominate. And like you can see the tackles there from Polokwane City. They're trying to get hold of that midfield.
Well, the possession, unsurprisingly, has belonged to Mamelodi Sundowns in the second half as well. 9 of 10 goal attempts have hit the target. I guess that speaks to the contribution that Matebula has made. Some of the saves, some of the stops have been rather routine, but there have been a few fairly tricky ones he's had to contend with. Rivaldo Kutsia's little flicked header comes to mind.
And the earlier shot as well from Allende before that led to corner kick that became a goal.
Fairly heavy challenge on the far side.
Such an aggressive runner there, Matulidi. Saw this couple of runs in the first half. You can see there Musa Lebusa knew exactly what it is that he was doing. Matulidi had so much momentum. Any touch, it's going to be a foul with that type of momentum, with that type of speed.
So Jelly Chabani taking some time to explain his decision, and Musa Lebusa, despite the fact that he's been on the park mere minutes, is issued with a caution. And considering that Mamelodi Sundowns often have a lot more of the ball, proportionately they do commit a lot of fouls.
Yep. Just trying to avoid the space that they leave behind.
Yeah.
That counter pressing, it's very tricky. Once you're late, you're always bound to make a foul, and that's how they start. That's how they get those yellow cards as well. And sometimes you need to commit that professional foul because the team is, on the counter-attack mode.
Always eager to win the ball back as promptly as possible, and I guess as a consequence of that, they are prone to committing fouls every now and again.
Yeah, you'll be coaching that midfield that you need to know how to make a foul.
Yeah. Now, Mamelodi Sundowns have won the last 2 visits against Polokwane City, winning 2-0 in 2018-19 and 3-0 in the 2019-20 season. So the last time that Polokwane City got a home win over Mamelodi Sundowns was in the 2017-18 season. A 3-2 victory that time around, with Semi Siabi, who is on the bench for Mamelodi Sundowns tonight, getting on the score sheet for Polokwane City. As Osmanapolis emerged from the Ajax, now Cape Town Spurs, youth structures, before moving on to SuperSport United. Had a fairly decent season with Pretoria Kelly's last campaign. He'll be beaten to the ball here by the much fresher Batusi Obas. With Polokwane City out of the top flight for the last 3 seasons, the most recent meeting between these two sides actually a Nedbank Cup match back in 2021 in the last 16. Mamelodi Sundowns 4-0 winners on that day. Ribeiro, dispossessed from behind, squeezed through by Apollos for Rapadu. Williams off his line to claim. Just over 20 minutes to go. Batusi Obas. Kutsia, first time ball to Allende. Mbala. Obas, clever. Batusi Obas continues on. Numbers have arrived in the area. Here's Tembazwani with the turn. And he will get the free kick. He's scored more goals against Polokwane City for Mamelodi Sundowns than any other player over the course of this 15-game rivalry, 4 in total. He wins the free kick here.
Yeah, very trickery there, Tembazwani. We've seen these turns season in, season out. That's why early on with that opportunities, the opportunity that he got, that he was drifting away from goal, he's able and capable of turning and be able to go through a goal.
Well, in what is their 15th league meeting, this is the 8th time that Mamelodi Sundowns have scored 2 goals, at least 2 goals. A fairly sizable war of 6 players being assembled here. Nku or Allende. What's it, Allende? Just couldn't get it to come down in time.
Those ones are always very difficult because you don't want to put too much power on them. You just want to go over the wall. And once you get it right, obviously it becomes a very beautiful goal, very precise, but very, very difficult to score from that angle.
Yeah, if anything, it's a little too close to goal.
Yeah.
Lovely technique on the effort, though. Zwane. It's been dispossessed. There's Modiba. He spoke in the build-up to this game, saying they were expecting a fairly difficult outing. did allude to the fact that that playing in Polokwane City's backyard would give them an advantage. Hasn't seemed to be the case today. And Mamelodi Sundowns fans, by a quick count from our rather lofty position here at the New Peter Mokaba Stadium, I would say outnumber the Polokwane City fans.
Yeah, there's not much bigger fan base from Mamelodi Sundowns in Polokwane. And I guess also looking at the game, the magnitude of the game coming over the weekend.
No, this is Sibin Ku. Riba. Offside. Still sitting on the cusp of a hat-trick. And he certainly went too early there, Hibero. Just over a quarter hour to play in Limpopo's capital. Plenty of action still to come though this evening. This is the solitary early kickoff, with this game having started at 5 p.m. But another 5 matches to come in the DStv Premiership at 7:30. If you stay with us on SuperSport PSL, you'll get to enjoy Stellenbosch entertaining Kaiser Chiefs, but Richards Bay will also be in action against Kakuni United. Chipper take on Royal AM. Morocco Swallows are in action against Cape Town Spurs, and Amazulu meet TS Galaxy. Teams clamoring for points ahead of the international break. I guess where they sit on the table, how many points they've accumulated, to a degree will inform the manner in which they prepare themselves over the course of their fortnight or so.
Yeah. And also, speaking of the international break, you don't want to go into the international break and have another pre-season because you're not getting good enough results within the league. So you want to maybe make sure that your players rest enough and be able to have another energy to actually go forward. So it's important to try and accumulate as many points as you can just before that window. And fairly, we can also say Polokwane City have done well being a newly promoted side.
Yeah. Well, Mamelodi Sundowns have lost just one of their last 23 matches against the newly promoted team, as this might be the third. Oh, Allende is clattered. It's another good intervention from Matebula.
Yeah, whenever he's called upon to make those saves, those bravery saves, he does so. And if he can just avoid making those mistakes that he does, I think he's such a good goalkeeper. He reads the game very well. I mean, he's been the difference between Polokwane City and Mamelodi Sundowns in today's game.
Yeah, without a doubt, could easily have been a much larger scoreline.
Yeah.
As Mamelodi Sundowns do go in search of their third. Polokwane City in that season they were relegated back in 2019-20. They accumulated 17 of their 25 points at home. And Mamelodi Sundowns again look for the third. Oh! Well, Tembazwane, who over the years has made something of a habit of scoring against Rise and Shine, just can't keep this one down.
Clever, they quick throw in from Mamelodi Sundowns, and unselfishly there from Mkutu put Tembazwane through.
Clearing the crossbar by mere inches. Yeah, City that season they were relegated. I mentioned their home record because obviously the latter stages of the season when it resumed, played under the COVID restrictions, and all played at Gauteng, where they each had a temporary home base. And Polokwane City's was Loftus Versfeld, where they had to host, in inverted commas, Mamelodi Sundowns towards the end of the season, and Sundowns beat them 3-0 there. So that's made things rather tricky in trying to preserve their status, having really relied heavily
on that game,
on home form, and on that game in particular. As Apollos, and Rapado can't make any ground. I'll slip through beautifully for Tembazwane. Nku alongside him, he's fed him, and side netting for the sub.
A very difficult pass there from Tembazwane, because Nku doesn't see where the ball is, and it ends up here on his feet, but also good control on his weaker foot. You're expecting at least to try and put it across. And it's always difficult whenever, especially on your weaker foot, you want to score on the very same pole that the goalkeeper is covering. Just try and play it across with power that you have. You're giving yourself a good opportunity to be able to score.
So Mamelodi Sundowns opening up, or reopening, an 8-point advantage at the top of the table. SuperSport United would have been hoping to move within 2 last night, but then lost heavily to Le Montfort Golden Arrows. Obviously Mamelodi Sundowns would have played a game more than anyone else in the division, but the gap dauntingly wide for those that are chasing them.
This is one team that you don't want them to stretch that lead, stretch that gap. We've seen what happened last season. Once they get into that momentum with so many points in hand, it becomes very, very difficult to chase them down and narrow those points.
There's Aubrey Modiba. Back heel, back into play. Polokwane City have won just one of their last 10 top-flight visits from Gauteng teams, as Mayema measures it.
Not too far, isn't it? Look at we've seen him within those areas, those ranges, putting the ball in the back of the net. But good play there from Nku, looking for 1-2. Very clever there from Mayema. Unfortunately, couldn't hit the target.
So be a double change here for Mamelodi Sundowns. Allende and Zwane making way, and Sami Siabi will come on against his former side. Man who has yet to feature this season. Sami Siabi was out at Skukuni United last term, made his Mamelodi Sundowns debut all the way back in 2019-20, having joined from Polokwane City. And that the loss of, I guess, their best player coming directly before they were relegated. Levels and Mvala. Seems like everyone, even the defenders, have a bag of tricks at their disposal. Modiba clattered from behind, and he's stayed down as well as Rodney Mapangule. Madiba scored a penalty for SuperSport United back in 2019 as Polokwane City won 3-1. That is the only time in their last 10 visits from Gauteng sides in a Premiership match that they've actually managed a victory. So usually teams from down south come here and get a fair amount of joy as we relive some of the moments from earlier in the game. This is the opener from Lucas Ribeiro, and here's his second, capitalizing on that parried shot. .30 kickoff. I remind you, Stellenbosch versus Kaizer Chiefs. But for now, our focus on the final 10 minutes or so here at the new Peter Mokaba Stadium. Obas. And he gets the return. Batusi Obas. The call goes against him as he scampers back into position. Polokwane City still without their regular captain, Pulling Marema. He contributed a healthy tally of goals last season, so no real timeline on when he will return, but he will be a welcome addition back to the squad.
As Matuludi there being fouled. I think between him and Matebula from the Polokwane side, I think those are the players as well that they've done fairly well. They've tried. Matebula most of the time being isolated from the right back, trying to come inside. He's one of the players that was causing Mamelodi Sundowns to defend a little more deeper. And you can see also in the second half, because of now, after Mamelodi Sundowns scored their second goal, we've never seen City rather using Mafuma, who was used in the first half. They looked more dangerous, but in the second half he will stop the ball, or Mamelodi Sundowns maybe tweaked a little bit to make sure that they cancel him out.
Yeah, the big man up top for Rise and Shine has been practically anonymous in this second period. And Leflohonola Siema watches on, knowing that his side have been thoroughly outplayed by the champions this evening. Now there's a red card that has emerged from the pocket, and the man who has only just recently made his way onto the park, my boy, has had it brandished in his face. Well, that is certainly very disappointing. I'd love another look at that challenge. It's seen him dismissed. It's high on the shins, right? But what do you see there?
Because it was very interesting to ask the referee after the game to actually find out what was that the red card for initially fouling, or maybe after that what happened. I failed to understand, but I don't think there was an offense that deserved the red card.
It wasn't particularly reckless. Maybe a little late, and it was high on the shin, but I don't think the studs were showing. again, we're not the experts in this particular regard in terms of officiating, but just my initial sense is that perhaps it's a little harsh unless there's something else underlying. Well, disappointing for a man who's just really regaining his fitness as Sudowns gives Polokwane City fans something to cheer about.
Something to cheer about.
Oh.
Yeah.
So Mamelodi Sudowns with 10 men. We'll just look to control proceedings. 2 minutes from the 90. Polokwane City will make a couple of changes, one last throw of the dice as they maybe look to take advantage of their man advantage. After an excellent game, is one of those out, and Obututo makes his first appearance for City this season, having been on the bench for every single game so far. Another player on is Cityc, 22-year-old who scored 10 goals over the past 2 seasons and has so often been used as a substitute. He only started 4 of 44 appearances over the past couple of seasons in the First Division. The box though.
You've seen that Cobus ever since he came in, playing more like of a different role that we're normally accustomed to in that midfield.
Yeah.
He's occupying more of the right 3 from the back, and we've seen him ball. It'll be very interesting to see exactly how, especially in that so many midfielders,
Players that he believes